All right. We're gonna sous vide some pork because I don't know how to, and he needs to teach me.
Yeah, so first thing is you need a sous vide. I use this one by Jewel, and then it's like an app. It's super easy to use. And I just turn all my temps down as low as it can go because you're going to be reheating it later most of the time. So if you like it at 135, then you're going to want to put it at 131, reheat it to 135 later.
Can we start at the beginning? Let's start at the top.
Yeah, so that's the Jewel.
Okay.
And then you set the timer on the app or whatever, but this is a pot. I'm going to fill it with water.
BRB. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So put that on there. Put this in here. Plug it in. Now it's going to take me a second to get to the app, so I don't know if you're like cutting it, so you don't have like all the dead air in the world.
They like the no cuts in my vlogs.
Do they like the no cuts?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what they're into
told me.
these days?
Yeah, these days. It's Trisha Paytas style vlogs.
Trisha style?
It's Trisha style.
Okay, and so then you get all these little options here, and then you select pork, and she'll watch this back later and see.
Exactly.
And that's why this is helpful to show you everything. Mm-hmm. And then you go to juicy flavor packed pork loin, and you click it, and then you say set temp, and then it normally sets it there at the our fave. I'm like a really rare, medium rare person in general for most meat cuts, and so I'll throw it down to the smallest. In this case, especially since we're putting it in the fridge to reheat later, you definitely want it at the lowest temp. So that's 131, so it's healthy to eat. And then it's 3 inches. So I have a little bread thing, and I'll just like measure it, but all the ones we get from Fry's are 3 inches, so it's 3 inches. And that means it's gonna take 3 hours to cook. And then it starts, and the app always has some bugs, so it looks goofy. And then you just hit the auto start timer when the water is ready, because this isn't going to take more than a minute, and the water won't even be done by then. So we'll like finish that up and then go to the next step.
Nice. Okay. Next step.
Okay.
Going over here.
Next step, they get to see our amazingly messy kitchen.
Hey, I did my darndest.
It's a good darned. Okay.
Okay.
So you get your pork. It's too big for one bag, so I just cut the top open and take it out. Do it any piece of meat.
And why do people sous vide meat?
They sous vide meat because if you bake it, the air temperature has to be hotter than the meat temperature. So like if I wanted the inside of this to be 165, because it's pork and you don't want to like die horribly, then you'd have to set the temperature of the oven to like 250 to 350 to get the internal temperature to that. But the outside is going to cook faster than the inside. So you're going to have overcooked on the outside and perfectly cooked in the center. Also with sous vide, you might not know this, bacteria dies not just at a specific temperature, but if you leave it in a temperature lower for too long. So at 165 degrees, all bacteria is dead. But if I put it to 131 degrees for 3 hours, you know, that bacteria is being sat in this really hot environment for a long time, and it also dies. So you're allowed to do lower temperatures on things like pork and chicken and still be really safe to eat. So it retains a lot of moisture. So if I sous vide this, I lose 5% moisture. If I cook it traditionally, I lose 25% moisture. So that's 20% more moist meat. It just tastes better.
Nice.
That's the way to do it. Okay.
Good to know, because I know the people, some people won't even know what that means, because I did not know what that word meant before dating you.
Oh yeah, it's just like water cooking. So water is the same density as meat, almost, not really, but like close enough. So the temperature of the water is the temperature of the meat, where with air, it doesn't transfer to the meat as well. So it's just a less efficient way of cooking. Okay, then you cut it in 2. I just sharpened the knife, so next time you want to do this, it'll be really easy for you.
Nice. We're all learning together.
And this is the healthy Sorry, I guess I'll talk over here. This is the healthy, lazy way to cook. So instead of adding like the oil and the butter and the fresh herbs and the stuff you won't have, you throw it in the bag. It's pork loin, so it already has some fat on it, but it's very lean, so it's very healthy, very high protein, very low calorie. And just whatever seasoning rub you like the best, and it'll take on enough of that flavor. So you don't have to do it perfectly, but if you do want to do it perfectly, the app has all the steps to do that. So if you wanted to pre-sear it to get different flavors out of it, or whatever you want to do, or whatever fresh herbs you like, you can go as crazy or as simple as you want. This is our weekday meal all week long. We'll have 1 to 2 of these, and we just like the easy method, and you don't add extra fat, so it's like a win-win. Then the pro tip, roll your bag over the top like that, because when you put the meat in, you're going to get gunk all over it, and that's awful. So, next step is you take your favorite rub. I get a 6-gun grill. You can buy it on Amazon, but it's from South Africa. It's really good. So
good.
It's
my
like
favorite seasoning.
It's the best, right?
He puts it on the wings that we're gonna have later.
Yeah, we put it on everything. It's the best.
So good.
Yeah. Now, if you want like a holiday spice, like I make my own rubs, but for our everyday, it just goes down to whatever you're going to do is the best. So if you're not going to do it because it's too hard to fresh grind your own seasoning, it doesn't matter that fresh ground is better. You're not going to do it. So this is good enough, right? Okay. You can get really heavy with it because when you sous vide it, a lot of it falls off.
Okay.
Because it's just going to be like in water, so all the juices are kind of like throwing the flavor off of it.
But it doesn't touch the water.
It doesn't, but it still gets juicy, and so like the juices that are running from the pork, remember it has a 5% moisture loss, it's gonna like just take some of the sauce in the bag. And you can also use that to make like a gravy. Oh. If you guys don't know. It's like that's how you make au jus, is from these juices. So I found like if you're gonna do something like a chuck roast, for instance, in the sous vide and make like roast beef from it, you can turn that into an au jus and have like a really excellent au jus or gravy. Gravy is like au jus with flour or whatever in it. So.
Nice. We're learning so much, you guys. I love it. I'm gonna title this "How to Sous Vide Pork." So then anyone who looks that up, they'll find our video. Hey.
Yeah, that's good.
They're gonna be like, who is this high person?
He's like, people don't even edit their videos. Not a cooking video. I want to do a proper cool cooking video. She's definitely like more vloggy, which is definitely.
This is definitely not
good.
like a clip with our camera and lights and all that.
Yeah.
Like, we can start doing stuff like that, but
no, that would be cool.
Obviously we were not going to be doing all that tonight.
So next, you just throw it in the bag. Okay. Clean your work surface because it'd be grody. You don't want to leave raw pork residue on anything ever. Obviously. I mean, it's obvious, but like, is it?
Not to everybody.
Not to everybody. Okay.
It's still heating
Now,
up.
here's what the sous vide trick is. So you don't need to use like a pro vacuum sealer every time, but you take the bag, grab the meat, and you kind of just roll it up like this, and you're sort of pushing the air out, and you leave half the thing unzipped. And then when you put it into the water, you just sort of dip your fingertips into it and then get it as close to the water as you can without getting water into the seal, and see how it gets it all vacuum sealed up. That's what it needs to be, because the air can't be touching it. Then you just flip it around the bag or around the rim.
Nice.
And then, yeah, do that again. So see, the closed part can go like in the water, and the open part you just sort of get it really close to the water, but not, and then go do this. And obviously, it's hot right now, so like what you would want to do is either have tough hands or do this part before you turn on the water heater. And that's why that button that says...
Good to know.
Yeah, because like for me, I won't burn myself at this temperature.
Why?
But it might burn you. I don't know. You have to tell me.
Oh, it's not too bad.
It's like not crazy.
It's like a bath. Ooh, I don't even take a hot bath.
It's a hot bath. That's hotter than they had when they were torturing people.
In America, not American Horror Story.
In what
Ratchet.
was it? In Nurse Ratchet, we're watching Nurse Ratchet, and they like put these people in a hot tub. This is hotter than that. So like, it's not really a hot bath, but like, that's the difference between. You can touch it and it's okay, but if you hold your hand in there, it literally cooks you, right? Mm-hmm. Like actually. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So that's what we're saying with bacteria too. Is you don't have to cook your meat to 165, but you do have to hold it at a temperature for long enough. So.
Nice. And then now it's good.
Now it's good. Now you set I throw a weight on it because as it starts to cook and it releases those juices, it might release some air and such and start to float. Mm. So what I do is I put just a piece of metal on top of both, and it just kind of holds it down there. So.
Nice.
Yeah, and then you set a timer, and this one's going to go for 3 hours, but if you leave it for 4, you don't have to worry. Sous vide is like the easiest way to cook. We just did the entire cooking process, and now when you reheat it later, you just take it out of the fridge, slice whatever you want off, and you sear it on both sides until it's warm. Because you can eat it just like it is cold. If you want to do slices of it, you can, or you can reheat it if you want to. So, nice. Really awesome. Yeah, what I hate the most about cooking pork, if it's raw, you throw it on your pan, cook both sides, and the edges will have some raw bits. Mm. So then it ends up being really overcooked, or some parts raw and some parts perfectly cooked. And with this, it's always perfect. It's always the best. It's super juicy. Even when reheated, it's only 15% moisture loss, not 25. So it's always just the best way to do it.
Nice. So. Thanks, babe.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for learning with me. It's a lot of fun.